at the moment, it looks as if Rangers will be struggling to get second, never mind first in the league. So I would expect American owners to speak up after Sunday, and we'll have after the window closes, the Old Firm game's out of the way, I think we'll have a clearer picture one way or another on Russell Martin's future at Ibrox.
We're going to catch up with Scott Burns, Record Sports Scott Burns, who is in Romania for the Aberdeen game. But before we do, Scott, I've got a few more Rangers comments to get through. James says the board did not understand the magnitude of Martin's downfall at Southampton, and then they underestimated how tough Scottish football is, buying players they thought would dance through defences. Craigie says, no, Daniel, even if he wins at the weekend 7-0, he still needs to go. John says, even Guardiola's finding it hard to get his team to play Pep-style football with top-class players. Russell Martin has zero chance of succeeding in the SPFL with mediocre players. And then, of course, we move to Sunday. You mentioned it there yourself, Scott. Game Machine says if Celtic win on Sunday, the Rangers fans will turn on the new board. And the Sweeney says Martin will be gone if he fails to beat them on Sunday. Singing the Blues says Sunday's game should be dubbed El Crappyco. Both teams are honking. And Mark simply asks, who's going to win? Worst attack or worst defence? Both teams a shamble for different reasons. How do you see Sunday's game going, Scott?
I've got absolutely no idea. Honestly.
I can't agree more. I mean, it'd be a draw probably, you know.
It's one of those ones where everything still points to a Celtic win. I mean, they've started the domestic season fairly well. No, obviously there's a massive disappointment in Europe. The other night they had their own kind of humiliation going out of the Champions League to Kairat. But as I say, they've started the domestic season pretty well. You look at the squads, Celtic still looks stronger. Guys that have been there and done it, won titles, won trophies, went to Ibrox and won before. But it's Scottish football, it's Old Firm, it's madness. You can't predict it. Would it surprise me if Rangers, it looks as if Rangers are going to get a new striker and maybe even two before the weekend, Bojan Majowski being one of them?
I was going to ask you about that, Scott. I mean, do you see him as being a good signing?
I do, aye. I mean, I'm not 100% convinced he's exactly what Rangers are looking for, but given the circumstances, I think they need experience. I think they need guys who know Scottish football, and this guy's proven in terms of scoring.
I'm a bit surprised Celtic are letting them have a free run at it, or seemingly.
Aye, possibly. We spoke a few weeks ago, didn't we, when Celtic were desperately kind of looking for another striker, and we thought, why not look at Majowski if he's available, especially if you look at the fee being talked about in terms of him going to Rangers. Look, he scored big goals in Scotland against the Old Firm. So, listen, if that deal gets done in the next kind of 24 hours, which we're expecting it to, then I think he could be thrown in on Sunday, and I don't think it would faze him. And you know yourself, Daniel, history tells you wee things like that will just give fans a lift, just maybe change the narrative slightly, maybe changes the atmosphere slightly. You know, it's like getting a new centre forward, a new number 9 coming in. It might just give Rangers something. And would it surprise me if Russell Martin somehow gets a performance out of them and they go and win the game? Probably no, but as I say, I don't think that really changes the discussions that need to take place at board level after Sunday, because it's still been a poor start. And as I say, the manner of the defeat last night, and also the recruitment, which a few of the callers have touched upon there, that's a big worry. I mean, Rangers have signed 9 players so far in this window, out with Cameron and Cortez, who are already signed up. But of those 9 players, I mean, I think Gassama is the only one that's really shown that he's capable of handling it at Rangers and performing and producing big moments. And look, he was poor. He was poor last night as well, by the way, but he's produced a few big moments already. I like his attitude. He always wants to take the ball. I think he's shown a bit of character, a bit of personality. So few of them have done that so far. And you're looking down those signings, and as I say, I think it's a big worry, the recruitment. And what I mean by that is, we touched on it before we came on. No, the Old Firm, it's unique. No, you need to be ability. Ability alone doesn't mean you can play for Rangers or Celtic. No, there is such a demand, such an expectation on you to perform week in, week out. I think only certain players can handle that and thrive in it and really relish it and go and be a success at the Old Firm.
Completely
And
agree.
unfortunately, I'm looking at a lot of these Rangers players at the moment, and you feel for guys like Max Aarons, for instance. I mean, I seen him last night after the game, and he just looked a shell. I mean, his eyes were glazed over. I mean, it was as if he couldn't believe what had happened to him. And well, I get that, because it's been a whirlwind for him coming from the clubs he's been at, Norwich and Bournemouth. With all due respect, this is a different kettle of fish altogether, and only certain players can deal with it. And I think a few of them are struggling with that. Russell Martin actually said it in his post-match interview last night. He said, it feels a bit, a few of the players are feeling it, being a bit heavy.
Yeah.
That shit being heavy on them. That's a worry. That's a worry when you've revamped that squad. And just finally, that's the big thing about Sunday in terms of his team selection. I think he's got a big dilemma on Sunday, because it's crying out for him to almost call on the old guard again, to get Raskin back in, to get Dessers back in, to get Tavernier back in. The ones that have been there, played in derbies, know what it's all about.
Do you think he does it?
You know what? I don't, because I think one or two might go in, but I think ultimately he's a guy that tries to stick to his principles, and that will mean sticking with the players that he's signed. No, the players that he's signed that he thinks can do a job for him. No, like an Asgard and a Rothwell and that. He needs, these guys need to prove to him that they can cut it. But honestly, there'll be such a temptation, and there'll be a demand from fans on social media and stuff in the next day or two. They'll want guys like Raskin and Tavernier back in, even Dessers, if they've not got another striker. No, I would argue even they might even want guys like Connor Barron in, who's at least Scottish and knows what that game's all about. Whether he does that or no, I would have my doubts, but I think he's going to have a big selection dilemma on his hands, if he didn't already after getting hammered 6-0.